one dam, we could have transformed it into, let's say, a number of acreage of land for a dam.
Okay.
You know, to facilitate production and growth.
Okay.
You know, and one thing too you have to know is that almost closer to 50% of your workforce are into agric. And ask yourself, what is the quantum that do they produce? They produce just 20% of the agriculture produce, I know, as against the GDP. While in the United States, 3% produce for entire country and even export. That tells you that in the first basis, we're inefficient.
Okay.
You know, and the tools that we're using in modern days are quite ineffective. Most of our farming are just household farming, small-scale farming. We don't have industrial farms here. And if we don't have industrial farms here, how does this feed into our GDP? Okay. So most of the things that we'll be doing is a lip service. Government need to come in one way or the other. We need to modernize our policies. We have to make sure that the policies are shaped through a point that it will really accelerate a real growth. You know, you can't tell a young man from the university that go and farm. It's not possible. And he's going to farm with modern day with hoes and cutlasses. It doesn't work like this in modern times. And I certainly believe that if we want to transform ourselves from this point, then we may also have to consider the basis that you first referred to.
Okay.
As to the basis, as the beginning, how we were having our industries being started with the government. In the modern day, you can modernize it by floating shares into the market. Farmlands or farm organizations could flow shares into the public, and people could buy into it and still own it as the way government intended to have the size of agriculture grow. So I think our policy direction is where we're having problems. Yes.
Well, I realize that when you're talking about the one village, one dam,
Exactly.
the thing you said was it should be linked to a certain acreage.
Exactly.
I have spoken to some persons in Agric who believe the biggest challenge the farmer faces is the land.
That's correct.
That if you do not have land, how do you farm in the first place?
That's correct.
And it seems that is the very point you are making.
That's right.
That you have to link whatever policies you are to the land.
To the land side, exactly.
Land,
That's correct. You know, that is it, because, you know, you are looking at performance. How do you assess, how would you even quantify or analyze the benefit of the dam to the people? How do you link the two together? You know, for example, I don't have money, you have given me a dam, and I can't put the dam into very good use. So what exactly is the benefit to it to me? I should have been able to know that this size of dam, I could use it to farm about, let's say, 100 acres of land or 200 acres of land, and it has a yield of so and so, and it will be able to give us an export earning of such and so, and this will be able to feed into the economy. If you are not doing this, you are just spending. You're not growing the economy. And that would be an old-fashioned economic system and economic policies. So this is where I think the laudable ideas are there, the policy formulations could be wrong.
And link that to the Planting for Food and Jobs program.
Yes.
Should it also be the same way?
It should be the same way, because if you're doing planning for food and jobs, I wonder how you really quantify and measure the returns and measure the performance of this planting and food for jobs.
Well, our government is using the number of fertilizers.
You see, these fertilizers are even sometimes being smuggled to the outside country, and they have to sell it out. It means that it hasn't been effective. And like I told you, the performance has dwindled from 2016, despite this initiative. And the reason is quite basic and simple. The most important thing is that people are not interested in their olden day farming system anymore. You know, so if you're going to do this and you're not very careful, you'll only be widening up your your expenditure on your sovereign balance sheet, while you wouldn't have a real returns to the economy, because the implementation and effectiveness of the policies that you've put in place is not yielding the results. You know, so that is where strategically you would have to relook at it and tend to feel like, if possibly in code, if it is not a political statement and you want a real effect that would have a growth on the country, only thing you realize is that you will just be buying resources, and these resources will be distributing, they'll be doing a supervisory responsibility. But don't forget, these are individual farms. And individual farms, individuals are not accountable to the government as to how much they produce. They are not accountable. But if you were to have this down to a large-scale industrialized farms, which you have a state sponsorship in it, and then you know it has even employed a number of size of people, And you also know the production level would have grown up to this level. And you also know that the export base would come and also add up more. Certainly this will certainly feed into your GDP. And you can best talk clearly with figures and examples to be able to say that this implementation that we did, this has been the result part of it. But if these things are not being done, then certainly we are going to have a problem. And that is a challenge that we're facing now. Government will be spending, but the citizens will be feeling the heat.
So basically what we are doing in the agri sector is politics. We throw things at the farmer just to get the farmer to back us.
That is the point, because if you ask me, this is what I would like to say. You know, I can never say that the government machinery is very intelligent, and certainly they have the man. Let me put it that way. Is that okay? Yes. They have the man. Yeah. And I strongly believe that session I'm trying to do, possibly they may also be alluding to me in one way or the other, in the sense that you couldn't like to start with a policy blender or a policy failure.
Okay.
Is that okay? And looking at this, right away from the word go, when you do a basic analysis, you just realize that it could probably be a faulty policy.
Okay.
You know, and if it's a faulty policy, the intent could be genuine, but the result and the benefit might not be as expected.
But how can a policy be faulty?
Yes, we have a faulty policy because a policy has to be derived out of a strategic direction.
Okay.
Is that okay? So the first aspect of it is that what is their strategic direction or strategic objective as far as this is concerned?
Okay.
Probably they want to boost up agriculture. And if they wanted to boost up agriculture, the policy is now the formula that you're going to use and how you're going to apply it as a means to achieving whatever you want to achieve. Okay. Now, there's a situation whereby you have acquired more fertilizers. Given to who?
The farmer.
You know, given to, and who is a farmer?
The average
a small household farmers. What size of farmlands are we looking at? You see, we should be sure that we are not wasting the scarce resources we have into a venture that will not necessarily yield much more to the benefit of our economy. You understand? Because when you talk about farmers, farmers are quite scattered. Everybody can pose as a farmer and take the benefit of what you are having and then either use it or misapply it.
Okay.
Is that okay? And the results you could be getting would not be so reflective. And once they are not reflective, it means that in one way or the other, you'll be wasting taxpayers' money. And once you're wasting taxpayers' money, don't forget you have interest on most of the foreign loans you've acquired, and you have to pay.
Okay.
And once you have to pay this debt, suddenly you get to realize that the benefit of the debt has not been realized. And that is the problem that we have. So economy as Ghana, we should have far much more grow than the 50 billion and 50.6 billion dollars that we worth as a GDP as of today. Because I felt we could have done much more better than what we are doing today if we had been very creative and using much more a prudent and a full focus looking policies as we stand up today.
Well, the politicians like saying what you just said.
Yes.
They will say you are spending unproductively.
Yes, that's right. Yes, you are spending unproductively. That is basically what happens.